Ready? Begin. Hello everyone, my name is Gurku Cloud. I'm actually doing a presentation today on dragons for my folklore class under Professor Ermey. One of the things that I like about this particular subject is that it is so well renowned around the world. Every single culture has some form or version of dragons. Whether you're in the east or the western areas of the world, Asia, the Americas, Aztecs, the Celts, wherever you are, you'll always run into some form of dragons. The biggest thing that I was interested in, though, with this paper in particular, was doing the research behind it. One would think that finding things on dragons specifically scientifically would be very difficult, but on the contrary, there is so much folklore from dragons that we can easily put together some type of paper, and that's what I've done. For my folklore class, I put together a paper on the differences between Eastern cultures and Western cultures' viewpoints on dragons, specifically how it affects the culture. For example, when you take dragons in the West, you normally would think of stories such as Beowulf, where the man has to fight the dragon and save the kingdom, similar to Fafnir and Sigmund from the old tales. It's even been in stories such as Tolkien's Lord of the Rings series and the Hobbit series, in which dragons, such as the gold, red, and all other colored dragons have been seen. The biggest thing, though, with the Western dragons is that they have an aggressive behavior. They're also physically described as serpentine-like with bat-like wings, flying and having the demonic powers. It stems much so from, I believe, the Christian way of identifying these serpents as the devil, perhaps something that is more biblical in reference. Another reference that I have is that Robin Leighton's book on Draconica, she actually discusses the connection between the anatomical structures of dragons and their personas, their behavior, how they react. She actually says that with these bat-like serpentine creatures, dragons have influenced cultures throughout the world. What this means is that basically fiery, evil, scaly dragons, such as the ones we see in Lord of the Rings, Sleeping Beauty, and all of those, are in fact Western based. Now my debate to you here is that the Western are more evil, they're more benevolent, or malevolent rather, whereas the East have more benevolent and peaceful dragons that seem to help humanity. With the Eastern realm, you have a plethora of research from dragons of China, who actually have created a symbol in their culture, the zodiac. The dragon is the most powerful symbol in the Chinese culture. In fact, the Japanese agree with it. Every language in the Asian area has their own word for dragon, whereas in the West, we use the term dragon or drakon very loosely. For example, ru in Japanese means dragon, but it's completely different from the word longam in Thai, or even more so, long in Chinese, Mandarin specifically. With that said, the Eastern dragons, anatomically, going back to Leighton's research, are normally found with, opposed to scales, maybe animal-like parts. Perhaps feathers or wings that are made out of birds' feathers, and more importantly, they have a more peaceful nature. The East seems to worship them. They seem to be more peaceful. And this is what I would like to discuss the most, is that the difference is in the physical and anatomical structures opposed to their cultures in a peaceful way. Dungeons & Dragons, where I will wrap this up, actually likes to separate them into colors. The chromatic and the metallic dragons are not only reflected on East and West cultures, as I've aforementioned, but they've also been shown to exhibit the same behaviors. The chromatic and the metallic are separated by their evil and good aligned. The chromatic, like the black-red dragons, are evil, as we see perhaps in Sleeping Beauty and Smaug from Lord of the Rings. As opposed to that, we have the East, which we have metallic dragons, such as the gold and silver. Folklore from the Never-Ending Story is a silver dragon who is exhibits the same characteristics of a good aligned dragon. Thank you very much. This is the summary of my paper, and if you have any questions, please stand by